Hello lettering friends, I'm Sarah from Ensign Insights. In this video, I'm going to review the neon markers from Karin Markers. Their new Brush Marker Pro box comes with 12 neons. I reviewed the non-neon brush markers in another video I will link to if you want to watch that after you watch this one. Karin Markers did send these to me to try them out. You may have heard me say this in another brush pen review. I normally don't like neons because the fluorescent is too bright to me and it's really hard. It doesn't show up on camera very well. However, with these neons, I was pleasantly surprised. There are 12 colors, which is more than the basic regular neon colors, and they do seem like they are pretty unique colors. You can see what I mean as I am swatching them. Instead of just an orange, it's an orange red, and the yellow one is a canary, and it's more of a golden yellow instead of that neon yellow. And then in the neon yellow one, the camera, it doesn't show up great, but it really is that bright fluorescent yellow, which I don't use very often because it's that fluorescent type that I don't love very much. And the pink one is kind of that fluorescent color as well, which I don't love, but all of the rest of them are amazing. And maybe you like that fluorescent style, then you would like the yellow and the pink one. I just really loved how these were such unique colors for neons. And personally, they're just the right amount of bright for what I like. I tried blending them together a little bit and they feel a little thicker, the ink does, than the regular ones. So I will show you how I blended them more in a little bit. I had some questions on how they compare to the regular markers, so I pulled out the colors that would be most similar. Not all of them had a matching color, so I did my best choosing a color that would be sort of similar. You can tell that the neon markers are an intense, bright color. The regular markers are very bold colors, but the brightness doesn't pop off the page. Both are very vibrant, so it's just a personal preference. If you like really bright or a little bit more toned down, or maybe you can't choose like me and you just like both. I toned down the lighting just a little bit so you could see how the neons pop off the page, and you can see that neon yellow and the pink, they're really fluorescent. It is kind of hard to capture that on camera with lighting. So then I made a piece experimenting with the blending. Just like the regular markers, these are so juicy. Markers in general don't blend well on HP Premium 32 paper, the paper you normally see me use. So here I am using Strathmore Smooth Bristle paper. If you are curious about paper, I have a video where I compared different paper for blending, and I will link to that below. These markers blend so well. I just took a little water brush and I blended it together. The ink blends very nicely because it's so juicy. I did think the blending was pretty similar to the regular Brush Marker Pro. The ink does feel a little thicker somehow. It seems to sit on top of the paper more. That's just a tiny detail that isn't really noticeable, but it maybe gives it a little bit of texture. And these colors already pop off the page, and so when I added the gray shadow, they really pop off the page. I really liked that look. I'd love to hear what you think of these markers. Have you tried them? Have you tried the regular Brush Marker Pro from Karin Markers? Do you love them as much as I do? Lastly, I had someone ask me how they would do for Galaxy lettering because I do have a Galaxy lettering Skillshare class. I'll link to a video that talks more about that. I compared all of my brush pens for Galaxy lettering to see how all of them would do and which one was the best. And to be honest, I didn't know how these ones would do because they're so bright and Galaxies are more dark, but I like bright Galaxies just because I like bright colors. So I wanted to try it out and compare them to the other Galaxy lettering that I have done. So you can see I just do faux calligraphy and then I blend the colors on the inside and I make sure to add some stars at the end. Some people may not like this style, especially for galaxy lettering. If you want it to be really toned down and really deep, rich colors. But I personally really liked this because I prefer bright colors. Overall, I am really happy with these neon markers, much more than I thought I was going to be. And then here you can see the word kind I did with regular Karin markers. And then the word galaxy, that was done with Tombow dual brush pens. So I wanted to compare all of them together. The neon ones are definitely the brightest. If you have any other questions about them that I didn't answer, let me know below. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you being here. I will see you next time.